Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily. If you thought yesterday's DCEU Daily was very emotional and very epic in the tone of talking about Zack Snyder moving on from the DCEU and doing this new project, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's official, something that I've known for months now, officially. Ben Affleck will no longer be playing Batman. He will not be in the Batman. The Batman will be released in June 2021. And this is a domino effect. The DCEU is cleaning out its house. Walter Hamada is making the changes now. They've got Aquaman. It's successful. It's been green lit for a sequel. But Ben Affleck is done. Ben Affleck is moving on. So how do we know this officially now? Well, he's tweeted this. He's quote tweeted this. Excited for the Batman in summer 2021 and to see Matt Reeves' vision come to life. What is he quote tweeting? This from Deadline Hollywood. The Batman to fly in summer 2021. Ben Affleck passes the torch to next generation of Bruce Wayne. Now, I went on to the article and there's not much there. There's not a lot of quotes from Affleck. All that he said is in that tweet. And because he's quote tweeted the Deadline kind of tweet that says he passes the torch to next generation of Bruce Wayne. Now, the whole internet's full of this now, that Ben Affleck's gone. But maybe he could still be in this film. I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty final, doesn't it? Passes on the torch. How are they going to do this, though? I mean, there's things I know and there's things I don't know. Look, let me clue you up. I've got a lot of connections in Hollywood. I spent a year in Hollywood. I didn't like it and I left. The idea was for me to act, produce, direct. I made friends with a lot of people out there. I didn't enjoy the life. Because of the social aspect, I got very involved with drugs and and things like that. And it's a very intense lifestyle, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was my dream to go out there and work there and become successful out there, but it didn't happen. Anyway, this is not about me. This is about the DCEU. So I know a lot of people. I made a lot of friends, and they're not exactly sure. They're not even exactly sure what's going on here. I mean, as I say, it sounds very final. He looks like he's gone. What he's quote tweeting is that he's passing the torch. But this, of course, could be passing the torch by him and the flashbacks that we thought he was going to have. Because, as I say, how are they going to do this in this film? Are we just going to see a young Bruce Wayne? Are we going to forget that Ben Affleck was ever in it? I doubt it. So they've got to maneuver themselves cleverly. You know, this young Batman has to be set in the past. Has to be. Look, basically, we've known what this film's going to be for a long time. Noir, detective story, very different in tone of, keeping faith with Batman being the world's greatest detective. Because as Matt's already said, that's not really been done in live action. In BVS, he did a bit of detecting, but not in the terms and the depths that Matt wants to do here. This is going to be a very, very interesting, different take on Batman. But it's the take that Bob Kane and Bill Finger came out with originally. And I think that's important. It's important to the fans. I don't know how interesting that will be to the mainstream audience, but we will see, look, Batman is world famous. People love Batman. People are going to be interested in this film. There's no question about that. So who is going to be Batman? Let the insane rumours commence. Let the casting happen. Then let everyone say he's crap. Then in 2 years, we can all say how great he was. How do I rate Ben Affleck as a Batman? He is one of the best. He's up there with Bale and Keaton. Definitely. I would put Bale top, and I would put Ben Affleck second, then I would put Keaton third. I think Keaton was good. He was good. I liked him. I do prefer Christian Bale was an amazing Batman. Forget about the croaky voice that some of you don't like he puts on. The point is he was a great Batman, and even better Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale had the lot. But Ben Affleck's Batman was amazing. It was. I prefer I actually prefer Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne to his Batman, even though I love his Batman. I actually prefer Ben Affleck's Batman to his Bruce Wayne. he really encapsulated that role. He was a pretty scary Batman, especially in Batman v Superman, because he was angry. And as an actor, he really portrayed that beautifully. He will be remembered as a great Batman. Some people think he's the greatest Batman. Some people like me think it's Christian Bale. Look, it's an interesting debate to have. Now, I follow an account called the DCEU podcast on YouTube. They talk about Zack's Justice League and, you know, Zack's Vision and Man of Steel on BVS. They're angry and they're saying they're not going to follow the DCEU. They want Zack Snyder's vision to continue. A lot of people this morning waking up are going to feel the same way. As much as I love and adore Zack Snyder and his vision, what went wrong here is too many cooks spoilt the broth from the beginning. And I do love BVS and MOS and the other films, you know, before Justice League. I do. And I will always watch them and remember them. This was the birth of the DCEU. But as I say, Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns, Christopher Nolan in the Godfather role, David S. Goyer, there was just too many cooks in this broth and it was never going to work. Whose vision was being sorted out here? Was it Zack Snyder's? Was it David S. Goyer's? Jeff Johns, who was totally pulling from a different direction. He wanted to keep the integrity of what was in the comics. And Zack Snyder had a different vision to that, a very dark vision, a very kind of injustice vision, if you like. Injustice in terms of the comics, the graphic novels, not injustice as an injustice. But so everyone had different ideas. But now with Walter Hamada, you've got one leader, one set of ideas, one direction. It's going to work. It's going to work for the mainstream. And as I say before, that might not be perfect from our ideology, but as a studio, you've got to think of where the money is. And the money is in the mainstream, as the MCU and Disney have proven. And I do believe they're not going to go totally MCU with jokes. There will be lighter, jokey films like Shazam, but there will also be kind of more interesting, darker in tone films like The Batman. And The Batman can't be a comedy show, can it? It can't. You can have a few jokes in a Batman movie, but Batman can't make them. It's the other characters who have to be the humour, and that can work. But don't think that this is becoming all of a sudden the MCU. Someone said the other day, was it John Arangaza, who's a big Zack fan, a big DCEU fan, that Aquaman being commissioned for a second film and the success of Aquaman isn't a good thing for the DCEU because it's going to become like Marvel. And I quote tweeted him and said I couldn't agree less. I don't believe that's the case. I believe everything we saw in Aquaman was the same kind of music, the same kind of tones, the same Easter eggs as well from the previous films. So I think we're not doing a reboot here. We're not forgetting about what's happened. But they, aka Walter Hamada, will make the changes that he feels right. On Ben. Ben had an illness. He's an alcoholic. He's just come out of a centre. You know, even if they wanted him as the Batman, you know, it's too soon. But he's actually working on another project, which contradicts everything I actually just said. I just think from the moment Ben Affleck, you know, stepped down from directing the Batman and writing the Batman, it was obvious. This just wasn't going to happen anymore. Ben took the role of Batman so he could shape the character and his universes. That was the point. Once he couldn't do that, I think his interest level went down. But let's be clear here. This is not a Ben Affleck decision. This is a Warner Brothers decision. This is a Matt Reeves decision. And most important of all, this is a Walter Hamada decision. They, whether we like it or not, are moving away from what Zack Snyder did. That's gone. They will complement it. They will always tip a hat to it. There will be Easter eggs. But they're moving along to a brand new direction. They have to. They have to make this as big a franchise as the MCU. Now, as I say, it won't be the same as the MCU. They've already talked about the DC playbook being different to the MCU playbook, and that's kind of shots fired from the chairman of Warner Brothers. So last Saturday, his comments came out. Yesterday, Zack Snyder announced his new project with Netflix, you know, which means Zack's finished with Warner Brothers and, well, not necessarily Warner Brothers, as I spoke about yesterday, but definitely the DCEU. This morning, we're here. One moment, Matt Reeves is talking about his vision for the film all of a sudden, being totally open about when it's going to be released. boom, all of a sudden, we know this film's definitely happening. We know that Ben Affleck won't be involved. Unless he is going to cameo in this film, and he does, he's there, and then we got the flashbacks, and we're only going to see very little of him. I don't know. I do know that the guy's quote tweet is saying that says he passes the torch to a new actor, which basically means he can't be involved. But can he? Because, as I say, all he says is excited for the Batman in the summer 2021 and to see Matt Reeves' vision come to life. That's it. Yes. Yeah, Ben Affleck passes the torch to the next generation. But yes, we've always known there's going to be a younger Batman in this. So, listen, it does look like he's gone, but you never ever know what's happening. It does look like a new broom is going to sweep clean. That new broom is Walter Hamada, and he's making some very, very big decisions. But anyone who decides to not follow the DCEU anymore, I think you're robbing yourself of something truly special. What we had with Zack was special. We got that. We're never going to see that the nightmare scene explained further in a Justice League 3. We're not going to see his 5-movie arc, of course, which is devastating and disappointing. I always wanted to see Tim Burton's Superman Lives. I'm never going to see that. I can just imagine. Christopher Reeve had agreed to be in a Superman 5 before his accident. I'm never going to see that. This is the industry that we're in, I'm afraid. It's full of disappointment. But if you think about it, Zack Snyder will always be the one who launched the DCEU. We're still calling it the DCEU. And believe you me, I and my friends in Hollywood are still fighting for the Snyder Cut, because I talk to people in Hollywood every day. Do not worry. Fight with me. And we will see that film, hopefully, on Netflix. But that wasn't the only big news that was announced. Yes, because I don't know how official this is, but again, Deadline is saying that James Gunn will officially direct a Suicide Squad film, but it won't be Suicide Squad 2, and it's going to be a totally new take with brand new characters. Interesting. Of course, in the comics, there's different versions of the Suicide Squad. Now, how are they going to do this? How are they going to clean house? Well, I would assume that they'll say that Suicide Squad went its own separate ways. They're villains, They can't be trusted. So maybe they've gone their own separate ways. We don't even know if Will Smith will be involved as Deadshot. Let's see what happens. But apparently, he's definitely writing and directing this film, James Gunn. I'm very excited. I don't care about tweets that happened 800 years ago. He's a talented man. I care about those tweets because they enabled him to get fired from Disney, which would have devastated him, and to come come to Warner Brothers and be involved with the DCEU, and I hope he'll be involved with other movies as well. But I think 2021 is the year that's going to be released as well. So basically, 2021 is the year of the Batman kind of universe. Suicide Squad is in the Batman universe. The Batman is obviously in the Batman universe. It's very, very exciting. It's very exciting to be a fan of the DCEU. I know these changes are hard to take, but in truth, didn't we really know that Ben Affleck was going to move on? Didn't we really know that James Gunn was going to make some changes? Didn't we know from the moment Joss Whedon came in to do Justice League that they were going to go down another direction? Now, if Justice League was successful, and there was no way Justice League could be successful because they didn't give Joss Whedon a chance for his vision. All they did, they brought a director in and said, right, you can use this, you can use that, but you can't use this and you can't use that. We want it lighter, we want it shorter, do it. Poor Joss Whedon is as much of a victim as Zack Snyder. So when that goes out the window, Walter Hamada is brought in and he's got to fix this universe, and that's what he's doing. And in a way, you do need to bring some new people in. You do need to give it a breath of fresh air. And that's what he's doing. So as I say, I'm sorry that Ben Affleck's moving on. I'm sorry that we'll never see Zack's 5-movie arc. But you know what? We did have Zack's vision. We did see Ben as Batman. And Ben was a controversial choice from day one, as was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I suspect Jesse won't be Lex anymore either. And there's going to be big changes, and how they do these changes, I don't know. But it's going to be very exciting to find out. But of course, what does this mean for Henry Cavill and his Superman? I think it doesn't look good, does it? If Ben Affleck's actually moved on from the role and he's not going to be in the Batman at all, it doesn't look good for Henry Cavill either. And I've been hearing some conflicting rumours about this. One minute he's doing it, then he's not doing it. He's going to be in 4 movies. No, he's not. I right now don't know who to talk to about this because nobody seems to know anything. But of course, I'm always looking to find out more for the channel and for myself because I'm a massive DCEU fan, of course. Thank you for watching, everyone, on a very, very important episode of the DCEU Daily. Batfleck, no more.